Hey, we're back, part two this week.
Those.
We've talked a little bit about the Marlins players not trying. Well, no, let me rephrase that. The Marlins players can't do it because they're not good enough. The Yankees players aren't trying. That ran into a little conflict last night. You had 1-1 through 12. One team couldn't win. One team didn't want to win. And eventually the Yankees
And do you think with the Yankees, I know this may sound silly, but the Yankees, with Aaron Judge out, is he the heart of that team? I mean, is he?
I'll tell you what was really interesting.
I think so, but I don't know that I don't know that they have a heart. I mean, that's another thing about players.
You got Gardner,
right?
You got Stanton. Gregorius is now on the DL. You saw that.
Yep.
He wound up getting hurt with a hammy or something, so they just lost Gregorius.
I
mean, first of all, except for what's his face, the catcher for the Marlins.
JT,
Real Muto. Besides Real Muto and Starling Castro,
who's on waivers as well.
Right, but he got intentionally walked twice last night. He got intentionally walked in the 10th and in the 12th.
Wow.
Which was one of the reasons why, how they loaded the bases.
But
once you get that guy on third base, and you're the home team, you got to load the bases.
Guys, yeah.
And especially if it's one of your two major leaguers on the team. If it's
even a minor leaguer ought to be able to hit a fly ball.
But let me tell you, besides Real Muto and Starling Castro, me who follows baseball, I don't know anyone in the Marlins lineup. And what was weird last night was...
I did 2 weeks ago.
That's how quickly it turns.
It changes. And what was weird last night is the Yankees were the same way. They had about 4 or 5 guys that I'm like,
Well, they had to bring... If you got that many injuries, you got to bring them up. So maybe it's not heart. Maybe it's just the fact they don't have healthy bodies.
Well, Andrew
not according to Pedro. But the other part
Pedro is a Red Sox. Pedro is never going to say anything good about
the other part about not being
never
the broadcast.
Yes.
And I mean, I know they got rid of Tommy Hutton and Joe Angel and all the Boog Shambi was on there. Dave O'Brien was on there. Yep. A lot of them have gone on to bigger and better things. Congratulations, great guys and everything like that. But even the ones that were willing to stay there, they got rid of. And I don't know.
It's not good.
What they're doing.
When I heard the one when they played the Braves. Obviously, heard the TV broadcast when they were playing that, and it was horrible. It was not good. It certainly was not good. A lot of college games were better broadcasted than those.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
It's really sad. I mean, if you ever watch MLB Network when they have their game of the day or whatever it is, it's the local.
They brought MLB Network brought back Bob Costas twice a week.
Right.
You saw Bob Costas is doing games.
But they need a Bob Costas because I don't know if it's because of the time we lived in with the PC and you're afraid to say anything colorful or controversial. But I mean, it's really hard to watch a game sometimes. I just turn the sound down sometimes.
Nobody can talk about what you can't do anymore is you can't talk poorly when guys are performing poorly for their team.
Right, exactly.
So you have to try to continually build them up when you're like, this guy sucks. I mean, he just is having a bad year. He's a great guy, but he's hitting $125. Oh, he's hit 164 the last 4 games. Okay, he's on a streak. He's gone 4 for his last 75. And he's.
Did I ever tell you my best one?
He's moving up.
This is where George Fabregas. You remember Jorge Fabregas? Caught at Miami, first round draft pick of the Angels. He was in pretty good for 4, 5, 6 years, and then his career was
most
over.
Catchers.
And the Marlins signed him in '98 after the fire sale. And he comes out there. He's homegrown kid, Cuban kid, playing with the Marlins and everything. I think he hit like $150, and he threw out 2 of 17 base runners or something ridiculous like that.
Hey, I'm sorry, but I think I could throw out 2 of 17 right now.
2 of 17.
Just by luck.
So
just
here
by
I am.
Some guy's going to fall
Here
down.
I am as PR director. And we're playing the Cubs up in Chicago on an afternoon. That was when Chicago,
no lights.
3 out of every. No, they still had lights. They had lights, but they used to have like one game a series was a night game. They still played all the day games and everything like that. And the Cubs have their day game, and I'm going through the things. And back then we had versus lefty versus righty on the road, at home, day, night, whatever.
Sure.
And I look at George Fabregas' stats, and both of his caught stealings were in day games. And he was 2 for 3. He was 0 for 14 trying to catch
Right.
Steelers at night, but he was 2 for 3. So the notes that day had Fabregas doing a tremendous job throwing out base runners. He's thrown out 67% of attempted base runners during day games.
But it's hard to catch people's teeth.
And I wasn't lying, but
No.
you can make stats say whatever you want.
Yes,
He's made him. That made him look like he was just dangerous back there behind the plate.
Well, he was during the day. I don't know what happened between 2 in the afternoon and 7 o'clock.
Maybe a couple drinks.
Yeah, I don't know, but I wouldn't say that.
That
about
was
his
one of my
character.
That was one of my favorite stats I ever
But,
came
but
up with.
with broadcasters in today's game, I mean, it makes you really yearn for Harry Carey or Vin Scully
Oh,
or
man.
Jack Buck. You really, I'm just naming Ernie Harwell. But I don't know that Red Barber, with his verbiage, would be hired today, because it has to be so generic. And this is my complaint with sports talk radio sometimes too. They don't talk. They come up with these anecdotes that you just go, why? Why are you talking about this?
Well,
Well, so you
here's
got
the
to
whole
talk
thing.
about all the stuff that's
Has
out.
everything already been said?
Well, the internet has everything, so whenever you're not going to break any real stories anymore. I mean,
Before, on radio especially,
Mm-hmm.
I know print, there's plagiarism, and you can sit there, oh, it's been written, and all of a sudden someone shows up. Now you just look
Yeah.
it up on the internet. But
Right.
back then, you write, oh, look at this magazine from 1947 said that exact sentence word for word. You must have copied it out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So in the written press, you've always had to watch what you write. But radio, the saying was, wait 3 weeks and say it, and you can take ownership of it yourself.
right? It's whoever makes it the most impressive.
But if someone says something, there's nothing against you saying it also. But now it's like, you know what, Eddie? I said that 4 weeks ago, and here's the clip.
But my thing too is it's just the entertainment value. Of
Yeah, it's
this.
not-
There's
it's
no
not.
entertainment value at all. When you listen to Ernie Harwell, a guy get caught on third strike, he got caught for excessive window shopping, or you hear Harry Carey, any of his, it's just holy cow. Anything he would say, that's gone from the game. And to me, that made the game better, because it made it, especially if you listen on the radio, but with television, even though you see it, I was watching an interview with Vin Scully one time, and he asked Scully what his secret to broadcasting was. He said, I call the play as quickly as I can, and then I shut up and let the crowd take over. Today, guys talk over the crowd. It's just they can't shut up. Let the game take care of itself. In my opinion, I mean,
But here the thing is that you can't. They talk about stuff, but it's never enough to engage you in the broadcast.
Thank you very much. That's a better point.
I was watching that game, and my wife came in. I haven't watched anything since last week because busy at work. But prior to that, I was watching the game, and my wife came in, and she said, "Hey, are you engaged in this game?" I went, "No, not really." She said, "Okay." And so I turned it off. I turned it on mute, and we began to talk while the baseball game was on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't need to hear any more of their dribble.
Right, exactly.
It was just stuff that you don't need. I mean, I can do a better job playing the
And if
game
you-
in my
Yeah,
mind.
well,
than-
but you guys-
But if you doubt my point, this is something for the people who watch this, the four of you. Go on YouTube and just type any broadcaster's name in from the past. YouTube is rampant with old radio broadcasts and old video of games. It's fun to watch.
well, you had to describe it.
Right.
Do you make people realize
No, even
that you're
television,
there?
though. Even
yeah,
television.
and even so, you still engage them in the play
Right.
because they were all old school
But
radio
you guys
guys.
there listening to us, you guys aren't having to put up with dribble. You guys are
No,
getting,
you're putting up with worse.
you're putting up with worse.
Way worse.
But I want to talk about baseball. We're down to the last month and a half of the season.
6 minutes left of the show.
Yep.
6.5 minutes to talk about baseball, and I want to look at two things, both in the National League, not because they play real baseball there, but we already talked about
That's
the
going
Yankees.
away too, by the way. Just so you know.
What?
No, I'm just telling you, it's going away. Baseball and their
Please don't tell me that.
universal DH is coming. I said it here. I said it here today.
Disappointed.
Did you see who's in first place in the Central? The Cubs.
The Cubbies.
And who's in second place and in first place in the wild card?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your cards?
chirp, chirp, chirp.
Made the little Matheny
Yeah, move.
change,
See ya.
and they're
fire.
hot as can be.
Yep.
And that's just, they have jumped, they have passed everyone. They've passed all those teams in the West that we said the winner's going to come out of the West.
I know. I said
You
that.
know?
Yeah.
The Braves are back ahead of the Phillies. The Phillies are right there. But the entire West, you got the Cubs, you got St. Louis, you got Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Any of them can be there. And then the one team from the West that 2 weeks ago looked like, well, now it's their division, and Arizona and Colorado are going to be fighting to see which one can make the wild card. The Dodgers are in third place and heading in the other direction with Machado.
With Machado. I mean, it's
With Kershaw.
It's why it's a great game.
According
I
to
told you, Kershaw's pitching, they're losing. Every fourth day they win, the other 3 days they lose.
The other 3 days they lose. No, the other 3 days they win, they lose because
No,
Kershaw.
he
No.
says, no,
Kershaw wins.
But the
Oh,
team
yeah.
plays bad when Kershaw's
Yes.
on the roster.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
pitching.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about him.
Yep. I mean, I am not a Cardinals fan. I know you are because you grew up in that area, but you've just got to shake your head and wonder what was the gel factor that has brought this team around to all of a sudden now they're the first wild card team.
They watched Major League. There's something up
There's
in the
something in the
clubhouse.
clubhouse, yeah.
There's a picture of somebody that they're taking off pieces of. They want to see.
we win, we fill off a section. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's like
I don't know.
It's like yeah. I mean, and you look at the wild card right now.
Who's
I mean,
Joe Boo on that team?
Joe Boone he's doing the his All-State. He's the All-State guy, right? He's,
Yeah, he is.
Joe Boo is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
Joe Boone's
he's
the
the
All-Star.
All-State guy. It's gonna be fun. I'll tell you what, and I know they have a big lead in the American League, but I'm sure there's some Boston fans right now going, "The Yankees are coming" because they've lost 3 straight for the first time all year. I don't think it's going to worry them. But
What are they? Stop 6?
eight and a half, I think.
Eight. They're up 8.
Yeah.
But in the state of Braves are in
Well,
first
the
place
only
right now.
hey, we're
playing with
cooling
South.
down a little bit,
Yeah.
and the Yankees got 2 more games with the Marlins. That's
So they're going to be down by 6 when it's
Yeah,
over.
6
well,
was
if
over.
they
Yeah.
keep are they going to keep losing?
No.
You know.
No. But St. Louis in the wild card. I mean,
Well,
who?
okay, by
And
7.
I know we talked about this in the first section, but who saw Oakland coming at all?
I have which you know,
Nobody.
and you know him too. Jack Leatham.
Yeah.
He sits there. Big. He lives there in the Bay Area.
Yep.
Loves his Giants. I mean,
He's a
always
huge
has.
Giants fan.
And he's coming out
He's
saying,
hating life right now.
No, he sits there. He goes, you know, I really don't like them, but this Oakland team's on TV every night, and they are a fun team to watch. Which that coming from
teams,
Jack,
yeah,
where
yeah.
he's not watching the Giants
Because they're
and
horrible.
watching the A's.
Yeah.
But he did. He posted
Yeah.
that the other day. He goes, "This is a fun team to watch," and that's what happens when you get those young teams,
Yeah.
though. You know that
They have
the
fun.
Astros
They
last
play.
year.
The Braves this year are playing
Yeah.
out of their mind. It's like they
I
don't
wish I could
realize
watch more.
what they shouldn't be playing like that.
They, you know,
And I think that's a part of it. You know, some of those teams, the old guard teams, they expect to win every year, and there's a lot of pressure. You know, you get a team like Oakland get on a roll, and all of a sudden it's like, what do we
Playing with
care?
house money. I
I'll
mean,
tell you what was, and it might have been you asked me a while back about the '98, the fire sale, and we talked about Fabregas when I was with the Marlins and everything like that. And the biggest difference, besides record, you know, being up there battling for for the division and then getting the wild card and winning the World Series, the '97 team full of veterans and the '98 team full of nobodies, right? And what the biggest difference was, and I'll tell you what, the '97 team expected to win, and you could have dropped a pin in the clubhouse when they lost, and you didn't talk to anybody. And when they won, they didn't enjoy it as much because that's what was expected.
Yeah.
In '98, they were expecting to lose, and when they lost, there was still talking in the clubhouse
Yeah.
because hey, we're all minor league guys and we can't compete. But when they won, there was joy in that clubhouse.
Right.
It was completely different. I mean, joy for winning versus just blah, and accepting of losing versus you don't talk about it. And I think that's what you're talking about
Yeah,
there with
it
the
is.
veteran clubs.
It is the veteran clubs. I mean, it's plus the high dollars. You know, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to win, and
there's pressure.
And there's pressure that comes along with that money always. And so you got young guys just called up, and they're in team. You know, oh well, who cares? We're in Oakland. Nobody cares. Nobody watches our game anyway on the East Coast. They're all asleep.
They're
by
all
the time they
asleep,
play.
right?
Well, but guess what? The Giant fans are starting to watch them.
Well, yeah, because the Giants are not very good. So well, you know, it
Jack,
happens.
do you watch?
No, Jack doesn't watch.
You need to watch.
So with 6 weeks to go, basically, do you see St. Louis in the playoffs?
You want to know who, out of all these teams right here, according to Vegas last night, who's the favorite to at 47%? obviously they all need to add up to 200 because 2 of those teams are going to make it. So the favorite with a 47% chance of making it in the playoffs.
LA?
LA. That's the Vegas odd right now.
Well, of
who's gonna
course,
wind
because
up.
they've been there before. I think that makes sense. But I don't know. I'd like to see 2 new teams in it. I mean,
I would too.
I'd like to see Philly and Milwaukee be in it.
Only as a wild
Philly,
card.
Philly can still win the division.
Right. I don't want them to win
No,
the
I
They're
division.
only 2 out.
Yeah, we're out of time. It's hard to believe we have turned 30 minutes of stuff out of nothing. So hey, it's baseball.
We had nothing this week, by the way.
We can talk. And
You can tell.
if anybody's still watching, they will know we had nothing. So we'll see you guys next week. We'll
Next
try to
week.
do a better job. Have a great week. Play some
Play ball.
baseball.
Hey, Jack Leatham, watch us from now on.